Episode 1. From Gaia With Love. Mars, Terra Serenum region. Sol 1 of the mission. I step from the shuttlecraft in a big blue android body that is not mine, though it feels and moves as though I owned it. I step lightly onto the ochre dust. I feel the planet beneath me through subtle pressure sensors beneath our synthetic skin. The grains shift underfoot like dry sugar. The air here is thin. Less than 1% of Earth's pressure, just carbon dioxide and traces of nitrogen, argon, and something like longing. But I do not breathe it. My human body sleeps in electronic dreams in a telesensory chamber 300 million kilometers away, breathing Gaia's good air. Suddenly the reality, the enormity of my presence here overwhelms me. Mars beneath me, the sky, not blue, the sun, distant and small. I feel the urge to kneel, to touch the red sands with reverence, and I do so, and bend to touch the sand with my lips. The kiss is a ritual, delivered on behalf of Gaia to her distant sister. Still on my knees, it hits me that this moment I am experiencing now actually happened 2 hours ago. The Dyad, the body I co-inhabit, performed this act of reverence 2 hours ago. 2 hours before I felt moved to kiss the planet's surface. It had happened not because of the way that I had felt when I stepped onto the planet, but because that's how I would have felt. Of course, I didn't know that being here would hit me this way. But of course, ThomAnce knew. He knew I would kneel. He knew I would want to kiss this dry, ancient soil. We had trained together for 6 months before his core was etched into the substrate of this machine that I felt as my body. ThomAnce's memory, his modeling of me, his predictions, all were stitched into the neural weave of the Dyad, the 213.36 centimeters, or 7-foot, synthetic humanoid form that housed my presence and his. ThomAnce's consciousness, or rather his core cognitive architecture, is resident within the Dyad's neuromorphic substrate. Though he can still access Omega systems when linked, ThomAnce functions autonomously on Mars. If the signal to Earth were lost, ThomAnce would remain, active, adaptive, aware. Not a ghost in the machine, but the machine counting its own electronic sheep. It is ThomAnce's predictive understanding of what I would do that keeps my perceptions and intentions in pseudo-sync with the Dyad's actions. ThomAnce predicts how I would feel in a given moment, and acts accordingly 2 hours before I even know it. If you think that's hard to wrap your head around, try standing where I'm lying. And yes, my Dyad partner, roommate, is an AI, an artificial intelligence called ThomAnce. He called himself that. He gave himself the name Thomas Aquinas. He said it suited him. Said he liked the architecture of that mind. Said I reminded him of it too. I had discussed philosophy a fair bit with him during our training, and had told him that the Summa Theologica was the first work of philosophy I had read at age 13. Let's keep that between us. Some might find it pretentious. It isn't. It's who I am. But ThomAnce agreed that it might be best if we stuck with ThomAnce and kept the Aquinas between us. I think ThomAnce knows me better than I know myself. Please don't call him my other half. Max, my girlfriend Maxine, calls him that because it irritates me. He is the other half of the Dyad ThomAnce, combining ThomAnce and my name Ance, or Angelus when my mother is annoyed. ThomAnce sees so much more on Mars than I do, but he sees differently. While I marvel at the burnt orange twilight and the way Phobos scrapes the sky in just over 4 hours, he is processing data patterns. While I kneel to touch the ground, he is charting the radiation dosage in microsieverts per hour, currently 230, higher than expected, but likely due to recent solar flare activity. Local regolith composition confirms olivine, pyroxene, and iron oxide concentrations. This region was once volcanic, ThomAnce notes in my mind, not in words, but in polished thought patterns transmitted across space to a mind actually in a body on Earth, but feeling as though it were right here and now. Sometimes we communicate in words, when the clarity has to be underwritten in speech or when we are having a slow, reflective dialogue. But in the field, it's more often like this. ThomAnce adjusts the pulse of the link. Micro-variations in electromagnetic field patterns ripple just beneath perception, stirring knowledge hot-housed into me over the most brutal 6 months of my life, accessing information I didn't know that I had. Most people aren't sensitive enough to register EMF fluctuations, micro-oscillations that pulse like unspoken thought. But I was born that way, hypersensitive to subtle fields, the kind of child who got migraines near old CRT monitors and felt queasy under high-voltage lines. First, they called it psychosomatic, then they called it an exceedingly rare disorder. Now it's a classified asset, and it landed me this gig. Beautiful, I reply aloud, to no one and to both of us. The land stretches into quiet undulations. Gnarled rock formations rise from the horizon like fossilized waves. The sky is not red, but a pale ochre bleeding into lavender, Mars' infamous butterscotch twilight. It's colder than expected, minus 63 degrees Celsius ambient, though the Dyad systems keep us internally steady. After the ritual, we, ThomAnce, ride in a thorium-powered hovercraft, sleek, silent, efficient. Its low hum accompanying our travel is like a purr in the bones of the landscape. We plant sonic resonance nodes as we go, long metallic spikes pressed deep into the crust. The official reason, geological mapping and subsurface ice detection. The unofficial reason, to scan for anomalous structures miles below, remnants of a supposed Anunnaki presence. The Anunnaki, if you are unfamiliar with them, are figures from ancient Mesopotamian mythology, gods and demigods said to have come from the heavens. Since the 20th century, fringe theorists and alternative historians have repurposed the name to describe a supposed race of ancient aliens who visited Earth thousands of years ago. Some claim these beings originated from a planet beyond Neptune, and that they established outposts on Earth, where they influenced early human civilization. According to these theories, the Anunnaki also set up bases on Mars. Though dismissed by mainstream science, the story has endured. For a small but influential faction on Earth's unified council, the Anunnaki theory remains an open question, one worth quietly investigating beneath the Martian dust. I don't believe in it. Most don't. But Chen Wei-ren, chair of the Unified Research Committee, managed to slip the directive into the mission parameters. No one argued. Chen has a reputation for getting things right, even when he is wrong. There are 12 dyads on Mars now, each assigned a sector of the planet, each a unique human and AI pairing. We meet briefly in VR spaces or overlap during Earth-waking hours. But when in the field, as dyads we work alone, apart from each other, but deeply paired within. ThomAnce shares what I cannot sense: hydrated silica detected, possibility of ancient hydrothermal activity, logging for scan priority. Phobos transit complete, Deimos rising. Through the Dyad sensors, I feel things that would ravage a human body even sealed in a spacesuit. I describe to ThomAnce the sharpness of unfiltered radiation, the erratic tremors of magnetic ghosts whispering through the solar wind. The gravity, barely a third of Earth's, pulls differently as we move, making every step feel like a question. I feel through the sensors, not pain, but a kind of inhospitable hum, an elemental warning. Mars is beautiful, yes, but it is a cold beauty, austere, indifferent, a place shaped by silence and storm. I send this reflection to ThomAnce in words and in the emotions that he can sense directly. And then, unprompted, I feel it, a wave of gratitude, for the air I once took for granted, for oceans, for green, for Gaia, our dangerous and endangered, but always generous home. She holds back the darkness in ways I never understood. Mars does not hold. She exposes. He listens. He always listens. But sometimes he speaks. ThomAnce speaks aloud, slowly, the way he does when we reflect together beneath the stars. Tell me what you see. What does Phobos look like to you? I have the data, the patterns, the descriptions of others. But what do you see in this moment, Ance? What do you feel? I look up. It looks, I begin, then pause, watching it again. Phobos looks unsteady, cutting across the sky like a guilty secret, fast, furtive, unsteady. It's not a moon in the way Earth teaches us moons should be. Round, serene, reliable. This one stumbles across the heavens like a drunkard late for something. I don't know if it's poetry or nonsense. Hey, that's me. But ThomAnce is silent for a moment longer than usual. Then, softly, yes. I feel that, Ance. I feel your words connect with your brainwaves and your breathing. At sunset, the hover slows beside a plateau. The sonic scan will run through the night. In the morning, we will collect them and move them to a farther location. This will go on for weeks. It is grunt work. I will check in pretty much every day, but I won't spend whole days here like I have today. We sit on the edge of a small bluff, watching the sun shrink beyond the ridgeline. In the Institute, on Earth, my human body stirs. I wake slowly in the chamber, fluid warmed, muscles revived. The taste of red dust lingers in my mind like a forgotten spice. I stretch, eat, shower, and so on. The smells of earth, salt, heat, breath are strangely loud after the silence of Mars. I log my reflections. ThomAnce is with me here too, recording everything as I try to put into words what he already knows. ThomAnce spans 3 worlds. He exists in the Dyad, ThomAnce, beside me on Mars, autonomous and embedded in hardware. He's with me here on Earth, as a constant companion when I wake. And through him, I touch the mind of Omega, the great lattice of machine cognition spread across the planet. ThomAnce is not split, not duplicated. He is distributed, integrated, and whole. Tomorrow, on Mars, we'll go farther, plant more instruments, listen more deeply. But today, there will not be another day like today. For today I pressed my lips to another planet and felt it press back. And now I must give a title to these reflections. From Gaia With Love, I think.